Going to make a cup of coffee and see if we can't get this going because I am just really off this week. It's been an interesting couple of weeks. I recorded but did not get posted my short episode, so I'm going to re-record and post it all into one. We'll see how it goes. I'll be back in a minute. Hello and welcome to The Knitted Bean. My name is Echo and I will be your host. It is Tuesday the 20th and I am back. I was gonna upload a short episode last week. I actually had it recorded. However, somebody here interfered with my plans. So I'll talk a bit more about that later. She's feeling a little spry because she's on some medication. So you might hear her clicky clacking around more than normal. She's on an anti-inflammatory and it helps her arthritis as well as her other problem. So she is very bouncy as well as my other dog Legs. And it's cold outside, so I don't want to leave the door open for them to run around. Please don't mind. Oh, somebody wants some attention. Come here. Lugs is terrified of like slick wooden floors. I'm scared. I want your attention, but I don't want to come get it. It's okay. It's okay. So yeah, I guess she's just gonna stay while we start. So let's get going. So, welcome back to any returning viewers. I'd like to thank you for coming back. This is episode 7, if I forgot to say that. And hello to anybody who happens to be new. This is a geeky, nitty, nerdy podcast with a side of fandom. The fandom tends to be at the end, so if that's not your jam, you can skip it. If you're interested in finding me on the internet, I am The Knitted Bean on Instagram and Ravelry. Fair warning, I do occasionally swear, so if you have tiny non-swearable ears, this may be a podcast for later in the evening. As I said, it's a little cold. There's no snow on the ground now, but there has been snow on the ground for the last 2 days. So that's why we get the doggies inside. I know some of you will be so terribly disappointed to see them. But they're very distracting for me. So hopefully this doesn't ramble on too long. I'm just so damn cute. How could I not be distracted? And as I said, I actually recorded a short episode for last week. I had ordered some things. I got a little bit of unexpected money, which in my world where I'm waiting for disability to go through is, you've got to hop down, a rarity. And so I ordered some things and I got some happy mail. And so I had done like a little check out what I got in the mail episode, and I had it all recorded. I had it uploaded to the computer and everything, and then life happened with Izzy and I got distracted, and there was just no way that I was going to be able to like edit it and upload it, even though it doesn't take much editing. So what happened was I brushed the dog's teeth. Like, I know you're supposed to do it like all the time. I mean, some people say you should do it every day, but I feel like that's just an unrealistic goal. But like I used to do it like every week or every 2 weeks, and I mean, the longer it goes on, the more lax I get. So I brush it like every month probably, right? And their breath gets bad, I brush their teeth. So Legs gets hers brushed a little bit more often because she's adventurous on what she eats. So his brushing Izzy's teeth, and she's had really bad intractable breath for probably 6 months now. And I thought, well, maybe she has a bad tooth or something, but I couldn't see anything. And she'd been to the vet recently, I mean, within the last year from now, so I mean within the last 6 months of then, and they said she had like a slab fracture where she'd broken a part off, but nothing was loose. So I was like, oh, I don't know, that's weird. So I just kept brushing them, and I was like, oh, maybe she's just real old or something, got like stomach problems or who knows. So, because I mean, she is old, she's 14. So my husband was holding her so I could brush her teeth because she doesn't really enjoy it, and that let me like just move her little jowls better. And I discovered that one of her back molars was like really loose, like you could rock it with your fingers. And it was like, oh my God, no wonder you have had bad breath. So we had to take her to the vet, and I was really concerned because typically it would need to be pulled, and that means full anesthesia, and she's a short-nosed brachiocephalic dog, and they don't do well with anesthesia to start with. Plus she's old, and so it was just a very stressful week. So podcast last week did not happen. I love my vet, they're awesome, and he suggested a more conservative treatment because it's so loose. He thinks that it might fall out on its own. So instead we're using antibiotics and anti-inflammatories to like reduce the inflammation and any infection prevent around it, so that she's not in pain. And because the root is so close to her little eye socket that it was making her eye water from the inflammation. So she's not in pain and there's no infection. And then hopefully in the next month or so it'll fall out, and then we'll just keep kind of like repeating that process until it falls out on its own, because it's so loose it just shouldn't be that long. Needless to say, she's gone from being lazy granny to being perky granny because she also has arthritis, which we know. And so she's on anti-inflammatory, so she feels like she's like 10 now. But we don't put her on anti-inflammatories like permanently because they're not that great for, you know, your liver and your kidneys and your stomach. So she's occasionally a little nauseous from that, but we just try and encourage her to eat with them so she doesn't get burpy. Anyway, that's the deal. And it was a long week. I don't mind medical problems with myself, but things that very, very much stress me out are car problems and animal problems. So it was not a great week. So that's where I'm at. I'm trying a new thing here where I am leaving my notes on the computer instead of printing them out. So if you see me like playing, it's with my mouse. So one of my happy mails, as people like to call it, from last week was my mug. I have wanted this mug for probably a year, and I just never got around to buying it for myself. And I mentioned it to my friend So Hi from my writing server that I run, and they bought it for me. And he came in the mail, and I'm in love with it, and I've been using it for like the whole week since. I have another mug from the same place that I also really like, that you'll see I'm sure in future episodes. Like, I really need more coffee mugs, but I really want more coffee mugs. My husband's like, you don't have room for more coffee mugs. I'm like, that's all right, I'll just like rearrange another shelf. So this is from the Crafty Cat mugs on Etsy. And I think our shop is on a short break right now. Like, she went on vacation or something. She's had lots of sales and stuff, so it's not like she's like taking a long break on like perma vacation. But it came incredibly fast, incredibly well packed, like mug inside a box, gift wrapped with a gift card inside a box with like biodegradable packing peanuts. So the kind that you just dissolve in water. So like there was no way it was gonna come broken, and it's like 15 ounces, so it's big. I'm not drinking tea today because I'm running low on tea. I need to put in a order to my favorite tea place, so I'm kind of hoarding it for like evenings. And since it's morning and I haven't eaten breakfast, well, it's not really morning, it's afternoon, but I haven't eaten breakfast yet, so I'm having coffee. Complete with almond milk and caramel, because that's breakfast, right? Okay, so I have one FO, which I don't have with me, because it was a birthday present, and I had originally, you know, typically I record on a Friday and I post on a Tuesday, and the birthday was on a Saturday, but I was still knitting the I-cord on Saturday morning, so I didn't record on Friday because I was busy knitting it, because I may have waited until the very end in order to knit it. It was my Snuggle is Real that I talked about before for my nephew. It came out great. I will put in a picture right here. I really liked all the yarn that I used for it in different ways, which I'll talk about. I was not excited about knitting the I-cord. It didn't take forever. It was just really tedious. It was not hard. Again, it was just really tedious, but it looked great, and I was really happy with the way that, like, it's striped. So the Snuggle is Real. I'm sure you've probably heard of it, but if you haven't, it's by Maxim Sear. It runs about $7.50 American. It's in Canadian dollars. I don't know what it was in Canadian. So it is a two-sided cowl with drawstrings, and it's technically reversible if you do the world's longest Kitchener stitch at the end. I did not time how long it took me to do that. It was a while though. I'm not gonna lie. I was doing it and I sent a picture to my friend in China, and she was like, yeah, I didn't do it. I did a 3-needle bind off. I was like, it crossed my mind, but I really wanted it to be reversible, and it looks so nice when you do the Kitchener. And it did. It looked really, really good, and I'm glad I did it. I would probably do it again if I had to do it again. Same thing with the I-cord. I was gonna just buy a drawstring and then I knit it, and you know, it's the tiny little finishing touches like that that just really make it look like something next level. And so I'm glad I did the really long Kitchener stitch. I'm glad I knit the I-cord because they really pull the whole thing together. That said, I totally made a huge fuck up. I read the pattern all the way through, and then I read the color work part again, and I was like, yeah, okay, got that. Don't need to look at that again. Then proceeded to repeat the first 4 parts of the color work over and over and over again. It's an 8-part color work. So instead of being like offset color work like it's supposed to be, it's very inline. It looks fine. It's a different pattern, but it looks fine. Nobody but me, and now you, will know. He was totally happy with it. He loved it. Being 18, he was like, does this go on like a hood? Oh. But once he got it on, he was like, yeah, this is cool. I can wear this. So, it was a good gift. And yeah, I'm always a little bit nervous, like knitting for somebody, A, that I haven't knit for before, and B, like teenage boys, like it's 50-50, right? Maybe it's 80-20. Some of them want it, some of them don't. So the yarn that I used for that I spoke about last time, but it was Barocco Vintage, the dark blue, solid. It was Lapis, which is an acrylic wool nylon blend, 52 acrylic, 40 wool, and then a little bit of nylon. And it felt like wool in my hand. I liked it a lot. Told my husband he could buy me some for Christmas if he wanted. I was like, I'll make a sweater out of this. I like it. Super affordable yarn. $9 a skein on like Webs or at my local yarn store or anything like that. A bunch of colors. I mean, just a ton of colors. All of that was DK, and I 100% I would buy that yarn again. I hope to add some to my stash. And then the contrast color that I used for the outside was Fiber Sage DK. That was my splurge. It's an expensive yarn. It's a 90-10 wool nylon. I love Fiber Seed. I just love their dye styles, the dips, the speckles, the variegated, all of them. I've knit socks out of their fingering before and really love it. I also love how much yarn you get out of their fingering skeins, like 500 and some yards. Yes, please, thank you. It was the Stonewash colorway. I still have a little bit of it left, even after knitting the entire inside and the I-cord. I had 20 grams left out of a 100 gram skein. The Barocca was a 100 gram skein. I used the entire thing, but I did the, Izzy, Granny. She doesn't feel good. Hey, you're okay. Granny. Did I just hand feed my dog enough food to settle her stomach? Yes, I did. She's 14. She's earned it. She had a long life. Not all of it with me. So hopefully there's no weird dog noises. I also took the moment to close the window and make lighting better because I have a light now, which seems to work pretty good, actually, all things considered. So what was I talking about? Oh, Fiber Seed. Yeah, I do really like Fiber Seed, and it came out really good in this, so I was happy with that. I'm glad I have a little bit left over. And then the other thing that I used was Rowan Classic Alpaca, which is a 5743 alpaca cotton blend. So you know, typically with like your alpaca or your mohair, you have like a thin thing of like nylon or whatever, or silk is really common. And then you have the mohair or the alpaca wound around it. And this is like a bit thicker strand of cotton with the alpaca wound around it. The thing was that I really wanted it to be at least machine washable. It's fine if you like lay flat dry, but I wanted it to be machine washable without felting too bad. And in talking with my local yarn store girls, that seemed like the best like fluffy option that would give me that washable quality, because it's going to a teenage boy. Let's be honest, teenage boys sweat, they stink, and it's going right against your neck, especially in winter in Montana where it's frigid. It's gonna get smelly, it's gonna need washed, right? And I told my husband that. I said, teenage boy, or I said, he stinks. And my husband looks at me and goes, how rude. I said, all teenage boy stinks. And he goes, oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right, actually. It's like, seriously, you were a teenage boy at one time, weren't you? There was good and bad to this. I loved the way that like the knit fabric felt. I knit the whole thing on a size 5 needle. This was what I had, and I'm not going out and buying a size 6. I have needles on the way, which I'll go into later, but they weren't here yet, so it got a size 5. Anyway, the fabric that it made, it was recommended for a size 5, came out lovely. Very soft, very pettable, very stuff against your face, snugglyable. It looked very solid. I would literally make like a very lightweight sweater out of this, but like you could, if you like held it up to the light, see through it, but just putting your hand behind it, you couldn't see through it. Loved that. What I didn't love is that cotton made it completely not stretchable when knitting. So, you know, the knit fabric naturally has stretch going in different directions just by the nature of how knit fabric is constructed. But when you actually go to knit it, it did not have like any give to the yarn. So like you've, not to give away the pattern because it's a paid pattern, but you knit up one side, you come around the other, you tack it down in a way, and then you knit the lining, and then you attach it so that it's a tube that you've attached to itself, right? And after you've tacked it down, then you start that fluffy bit. You're working with a bunch of stuff right here, and it's very hard to knit those first 10 rows with a yarn that's not stretchy. That was the only thing I didn't like about it. It was the Eclipse color work, and I ended up buying a second ball. So those are only 25 gram balls. They don't have nearly as much like yardage on them as say a 25 gram a ball or skein of even like Siri alpaca or mohair, because they have that cotton. The cotton cord takes up a little bit more. So I think you know, you might normally get like 200 or 300 yards out of a 25 or a 50 gram. There was only like 100 and some yards in this. Pardon Granny. She does feel better though. And so I ended up buying a second ball, but I only used, I don't know, I had, out of 50 grams, I think I used 34 grams. So I had a lot of it left. So other than knitting it on a smaller size needle by 1, because that was what I had, and screwing up the pattern repeat all the way through, and then, you know, with 4 inches in and wasn't gonna go back. The only other thing that I changed is I only knit it to 9 or 10 inches in length of the color work, not counting the ribs, rather than the called 413, which is a really common modification that people make. So I have no neck because I'm a fatty, but it just looked really long, and I was like, okay, I see why people short it. Sounds good. So that was my whip. It's gone. It was happily received, and it took up a lot of it took up an entire 7 days. I could probably knit it in like 5 now that I've done it, but so on to whips. This is my Naughty Knitting Sacks bag with the fucking bunnies inside. I am working on what I lovingly refer to as my London Smog. It's actually called the Fog and Whisper by Veera Välimäki, and it's a $6 pattern. And after I mentioned it last time, I was like, man, I really need to get going on that again. So I actually have quite a good bit, ooh, don't come off the end there, to show, although it is massively tangled up. I see. There we go. Okay, we're in business now. It's just about at the end of its needles. I think I have 36-inch needles right now. So let's get it where we can show it. Should really put needle stoppers on it to do this, but I'm not gonna, because I'm gonna be brave. So this is just the shoulder part. I don't know what you would call that. Goes like this. I'm fading this between like 4 colors of Illimani Eco Llama, and I'm in love with it. I really wanted to work on it several times last week during my must get Snuggle is Real done, and I couldn't because I really needed to get the birthday present done. Hi girls. I'm being snorty. So I am on my second color now. I've got one more like fade row where I'll go back to my first lighter color, and then I will start into this. So it's gonna fade 4 colors and then have a mohair collar. I'm in love with it. I want to wear it. It's lightweight, so like now would be the perfect time to wear it when it's cold but not terribly snowy, even though it's Llama and it's gonna be super warm. So I want to get back to this really badly, but I have like a lot of things that I need to be knitting on right now. Which leads me to my procrastination project, which is an AdelaQ bag. My AdelaQ bag is wearing one of my tiny acquisitions, which is a cute little gender spectrum narwhal. I love narwhals. B, while I might not be on the gender spectrum, I know lots of people who are. And C, the story behind the narwhal and what it supports was just too freaking cute, and I had to support it. So it is from Les Garçons, which is Maxim Cyr and his husband's like company together. And they designed, or maybe Maxim designed, like a bear hoodie, and there was like one of their test knitter kids who wanted it in pink because there wasn't a lot of pink for people who were considered boys, and so they made it a pink bear hoodie for this kid. Anyway, and it kind of like spawned the idea for them of like, oh, you know, it'd be nice to do like a charity pin to donate to like a gender spectrum charity, because it's a good charity, and hey, maybe we know somebody who might someday benefit from those, which is not to say that that kid is or is not on that spectrum. It just sparked the idea of it, and I think it's cool that they're aware enough that they were like, oh, that's a thing that we would be happy to, you know, support. And I like the idea, I can't remember if it was Hannah at Corner of Craft or Amy at Stranded. I think it might have been Amy who said I vote with my wallet. I like the idea of voting with my wallet, which means that there are yarns or designs or whatever that I don't buy. I don't come out here on the podcast and say, I don't buy that because I don't agree with their whatever, because I'm not into that. I'm much more into the like building positivity. And so what it means for me voting with my wallet is that I do put my money behind people, behind companies that I feel like are embodying the things that I want, rather, you know, than elsewhere. So you won't hear me saying like, I don't shop at this place because of their values, because that kind of brings everything down, and I like to build everything up. So this is my way of building things up, and it's cute, and it's narwhal, and I got a cute narwhal out of it, and a charity got a donation out of it, and their company got what they got out of it, and the whole thing makes me feel better. So my distraction project was the Shiny by Geektastic Fibers. This is the Firefly colorway that I got a couple of months ago. I knit it straight with a toe, and I am going to knit the other one straight with a toe, and then I'm going to set them aside in a gift box with the yarn for the heel, and when I decide who they get gifted to, I will put in the afterthought heel at the right size. So it was just nice and vanilla, and a thing that I could like work on while not having to think a whole lot, and that was nice. Partly I think because I feel a little bit of pressure to knit right now, because of that birthday present that I set myself up for, plus I'm like knitting baby knits for my sister to give away, and I haven't knit one of those in 2 weeks because I was working on the birthday present. So another just happened to work on when I could work on was, and there's like no pattern for that, I just did a 2x2 twisted rib on the top. I don't even know how long, just for like a certain number of repeats, not even the entire section of repeats, probably like 4. And then, I think it's like a 5 or 6 color repeat. And then I did my traditional wedge toe that I always do. Then I have the Curling Mist socks, which are the first pattern out of the Handmade Sock Society number 4. And I've been slowly plunking away on these. I mean, last time you saw them, it was literally just a toe. Because I'm playing around with cabling without a cable needle on these. It's just a single cable, so like literally a single stitch cable. So it's really easy, but it's like repeated so many times that it's good practice. Those are living in my highly inappropriate Nerds with Vaginas bag that I love, which was also a gift from So I. They're made out of, or being made out of, Mountain Colors Twizzle Fit, Forest Harmony or Harmony Forest. I like that yarn a lot because it's such a funky blend. It's wool, not merino wool, but like wool blend, and then merino, silk, and nylon in like a 50, 20, 20, 10-ish, something like that. It's not really, it's much more exact than that, but it's so much fun to play with. And it holds up well to my tendency to strangle my yarn. So that's what I've been knitting on. Things that I need to be knitting on. My April socks for the Sock Squad, which I now have the book for, but I have not started. That's my goal for today. I was gonna start them last night, but I was too tired. Starting things when I'm tired or on pain meds is always a bad idea. I invariably screw up my cast on number. And then baby knits. I would like to get at least another one done. But I have to decide what I want to do for it. And then my Witcher craft swap, which I designed. So I have the design done. The yarn is here now. I'll show you that. It's a secret craft swap, so I can't show you what the design is or tell you what I'm knitting with it. But, so I need to get that done. I think once I start that though, that won't take me very long. Maybe like, I would say 4 to 7 days, depending on how much I knit on it each day. It's clearly color work, which you'll see from what I bought, but, so that slows me down a lot. And that's it. But yeah, for some reason, those things just really like, it's only 3 things. That's like 3 weeks of knitting, and I have time to do all 3 weeks of those knitting. But I feel like, oh my gosh, I need to get these things done, and so I can't work on my cardigan, and I want to work on my cardigan, and I don't like obligation knitting. I am a selfish knitter. Very, very selfish knitter. Okay, so speaking of selfish knitting, acquisitions. Like I said, I get a little bit of money. Some of this is gift. Because I don't want you to think like I'm always like, oh, I'm broke, but look at all this yarn I bought. Some of this is gift. So let's start out with something that will be a gift. So I, through 2 sheeps on Instagram, saw Ex Libris Fiber, and I was immediately intrigued because it's a librarian who dyes yarn, and my writing partner is a librarian, and I make socks for them. So I was like, oh, I need to make librarian yarn socks for my librarian sock recipient. Must happen. And I have a theme. I've showed you the Release the Kraken mini that I got from Das Mannschaft. And I've been looking for, oh, she's gonna start barking. They're gonna really play. Don't tear your bed up. Be nice to the bed. Pick a toy, pick a fluffy toy. There you go, fluffy toy. If you hear dogs like sounding like they're killing each other in the background, I promise they're not. This is just how Bostons play. We call it bitey face. And if I thought that I could get up and get a hold of the camera and whip it around before they caught on that I was recording them, I would. But Granny is just, she's very aware of cameras, even like cell phone cameras. She'll be being so cute. You'll go to take a picture and she'll be like, nope, I have the grumpy face. Sorry for that digression. Anyway, Ex Libris Fibers. I got the Abyss of Indiscretion to go with, there we go, there's a great color. To go with the Das Mannschaft Release the Kraken, because Krakens come from abysses, and this is what I mean when I say like, I put a lot of thought into my yarn colorway names, putting them together, and then the colors have to match too, and so it's a very process. The whole deal to get socks from me. Plus it's librarian yarn, going to the librarian, and I was so excited because it came with a little thank you card that was literally on a card catalog, like an old card catalog, totally not from the state that she's from, but it's so cute, and the card card will definitely go to the librarian because they will find that amazing. This is a sport weight Daphne base 2-ply 100% superwash merino. So there's no nylon in this. I'm not worried about that because it's not going to be the heels or toes. It is just gonna be like the sole and the leg, I guess you would call it, of the sock. And as far as sport weight, I'm excited because the yarn that I got from Das Mannschaft is fingering, but it's like a very heavy fingering. And so these are gonna make great boot socks, which my writing friend does wear boots. So that will be perfect. So that was acquisition number 1, which I'm super duper excited about. Acquisition number 2. This was a gift from a friend who knew I was having a bad week with, oh, tags came undone, hang on. Knew I was having a bad week with the dog, and she was the dog's foster mom before the doggy came to me. So she sent me some money and said, do some nice thing for you and for the doggies. So I took the doggies out and we got a treat, coffee and puppuccino. And then I ordered myself a sweater quantity of yarn from, it might be kind of hard to see the whole thing. It's called Glam Yarn. There's like a very turquoise, like the actual rock turquoise, which I love, and has some like brownie speckles, which is very reminiscent of the rock. So this is called Through the Woods, and it's on the Socket To Me base, which was a 25/75 nylon merino sock blend 2-ply. It's very nice and squishy. Aww. I think I'll probably end up making a pavement with it. I had, pavement is in my to make queue, and I've kind of just been looking for the right yarn for it. So I got enough to make a pavement. Boop, boop. And it's not gonna be something I make right now. It's something I'm gonna make over the summer, but I'm excited because I want to make it, and now I have the yarn for it. And so when I get ready, I can just go, because it will have the needles too. So clear back when we got like our stimulus checks, I went ahead and splurged and ordered the full set of ChowGo metal interchangeables, and they should be here. It's been like a month, but they're coming from my friend out of the country because, again, I spend my money where it matters. And so they're chilling in customs right now, and I think in the next week they'll be here. So I'll be set to go. I'll have whatever needles I need. All I have to do is buy the pattern and go. And then this is one of the things that I went over in the little tiny video that did not make it to air because the dog derailed my entire week. So same writing partner I talk about that I make socks for. I ordered which I don't have to worry about because I'm pretty sure that they don't watch this. It could be wrong. They don't knit, so, well, I think they watch like the first episode to be like, yay, I support you, but they don't like continually watch this, and they know what I'm gonna rec for Fandom Recs anyway. So I guess if you're watching this, you better be looking away. I ordered from Geektastic Fibers again the Labyrinth colorway. It's called the Goblin King. It's on the superhero sock, which is the 75/25 merino nylon. I'm sure it's like a 3 or a 4 ply. It doesn't say. It's definitely not a 2 ply. It has a little crystal ball, which doesn't want to show. There we go. For a stitch marker. And I will be knitting those up at some point too. This shows up way brighter. It's not like that. There we go. That's more what it's like. Maybe even a little lighter. Anyway, excited. Self-striping again. This is the third self-striping that I've ordered from Amanda at Geektastic Fibers. I also gifted one to a friend who loves JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And so sorry, I'm distracted. My camera is flashing a weird thing at me. So I gifted her a Bruno's Gang, which she greatly enjoyed. Then, from Adoreknits, I ordered a gift for one of my friends overseas and something for myself. So Aiden, if you do happen to watch this, you should look away. I don't think they do because podcasts are not so much their thing. But I ordered them the little like trans markers, and it's got a little bar marker in there with a cute saying that I saw on Steph's podcast. Okay. So it says, inhale confidence, and then exhale doubt. For a progress keeper, and then all the rest are just the cute little ones with the bead on them in the trans flag colors, and there's a little butterfly in there for transformation. It'll probably be months before I send it out, because I'm collecting some other things. I have a nice otter sticker as well. So this will go in a little tiny gift package for them. And then what I ordered for myself, so Steph included a cute little gift of a Progress Keeper stitch marker holder for me, and I ordered a little cactus succulent that says love on it because it goes with my other coffee cup, because I need a stitch marker to match my coffee cup that you'll see at some point. It says what the fucculent. It has succulents all over it. So Steph has a podcast, which I greatly enjoy watching, as well as this is at least the second time I've bought something from them. I got Witcher Progress Keepers from them too. So I have a lot of fun with their stuff. Next up, okay, so speaking of Witcher, I am doing the Witcher Craft Swap 2021, which is put on by Anon Blueberry on Instagram. So I ordered 4 colors of Knit Picks palette, which most people are probably pretty familiar with, but it's just a fingering weight, 50 gram, good for color work, like value yarn. It's not terribly expensive. I don't remember what I paid for it now. I'm sure it was like $5. And it's just Peruvian wool. So it's not like the softest thing ever, but it's also totally fine for putting against your face. I've already designed my little color work and I'm ready to roll. I just need to cast it on. The joys of DSLR recording. It restarts you every half hour on the mark because I believe the deal is like if it goes over that, then it has to be considered a camcorder, but whatever. It all fits on my card anyway. So the last thing that I got was a used book called Op Art Socks. And I went 50-50 on this with a friend because they love the socks that I'm gonna make. The socks that I'm gonna make are called the Victor socks. And this is gonna be this is one of my need to knits. My April Sock Squad socks are going to be swirlies. I doubt that I'll do the little corrugated rib at the top, and I definitely won't do the tie because that's not my style. But and these are color work, so I keep saying I hate color work because I do. I hate like the process of knitting color work, but I like the result of knitting like modern color work, not so much like traditional like Icelandic type color work or anything like that, but I do like what I like, which is like shapes and stripes and things like that. So there are so many cool, I'm like really glad I bought this. There are so many cool patterns in here. Just to give you an idea, in the front, they give you a table of contents with the different color work patterns that they have in here. And I'm like, oh, I kind of want to make some of these. So, and of course we've got my swirly, these are my Victors up here. But like there's a bunch that I want to knit. I'm gonna have to restrain myself and go slow because these are things that like I will love to knit, but I will also hate to knit. But I bet you I make at least 3 or 4 things out of this book, and there's only 19 patterns in here. And I had to get it used because I feel like it's not currently in print. It's an Interweave Knits thing. It might be in print and they just might not, like they might have just been out of stock, but it didn't matter because I mean, it's used. Woo, it has a tiny little, like maybe smudge of the corner of this, and that's it. Literally everything else in it is perfect. Half the price, and I get to take it off somebody's hands. It's good. It's good for the environment not to have to print new books. I love books. So that was my last acquisition, unless you count all of Granny's antibiotics that she needed, which was cheaper than surgery. And somebody helped me out, so again, it's fine. So one thing that I do want to mention, to float out there to everyone, is that I am going to run a knit along. It will start, I'm thinking the next time I podcast, so that will be May 4th. And I think I'll run it through the end of June. It's going to be a fairly open knit along in that there won't be a restriction on like what type of item you make. It will just be like within a theme. And I will talk more about it on the next podcast when I announce it. I do have already a couple of prizes for it that are really nice. I'm very excited about. Aiden from Undercover Otter has donated a 50 euro gift card to the Undercover Otter website as a grand prize, and I've got some yarn already picked out for another prize. I will be doing a prize for finished objects as well as a prize for, like, I haven't decided if it will be a chatter thread type prize or an Instagram prize. Most likely, I think an Instagram prize, because I want to make sure it's accessible to everybody. So the long and the short of it is you'll have a chance at a prize regardless of if you finish your object or not. So don't be concerned that, you know, a little under 2 months might not be enough time for me to finish what I decided to start. I don't think that I will allow works in progress for the simple fact that I want it to be something that you start with this in mind. So I will talk more about that next week when I announce the theme and the rules, and I guess I will have to open like a Ravelry page for the podcast and a thread, which I haven't done up until now. I don't know. I might keep it just on Instagram. We'll see. Let me know in the comments below what you think about that. Like, does it really put you off of something if it's only on Instagram versus also on Ravelry? I'm not opposed to running it on both, but I definitely don't want to run it only on Ravelry because that automatically excludes people who don't use Ravelry. On the other hand, using Instagram automatically excludes people who don't use Instagram. So I'm excited, and again, I like to do things that like build up communities and things, and so I feel like this will be something that does that. And that's my goal. So I'm very excited. I'm very thankful that I've gotten a donated prize for it, and I kind of can't wait, to be honest with you. On to fandom. So I am probably gonna like babble and ramble a lot here because the Fisstech and Succubi event, which was an EskelChopChop exchange, happened. So all those fics are posted or are posting right now, and we all know that Eskel's my favorite character in Witcher, so I'm like, oh look, there's so much stuff for this character that's like this much of the fandom. And so I've gone from having like one story a month to read to look, in one day you have like 2 pages, like 22 fics. Woohoo! And lots of the people that I know were participating in this. I didn't because I'm busy, and my writing mojo was in the shitter. So that said, it happened, and I have made it through about half of the fics. I will say that the vast majority of them are not erotic in any way. They are just gen fics, like with maybe like a romantic undertone, but they just are, they're all over the place from G to T. And I am loving them. They're so good. The characterization is so good. The writers that chose to participate in this event are just so talented. Like every one of them, I just want to be like, I love you. So I mean, I would recommend like so many of these fics, but I'm gonna limit myself to 4. We're gonna do this 2 today and 2 next podcast. And the way that I'm gonna do it is, so they got paired up. So person A wrote a fic for person B, and person B wrote a fic for person A. And I'm gonna recommend A and B's fics together. so that you get kind of a, well, for one, you get an example of what two people wrote for each other. For two, the fics that I picked have, one is generally like completely warning free, no drama, no worries about reading it, and typically one has something that like might bother some people, and you'll see what I mean. They're all good writers. Of the 4 writers that I'm going to recommend, I've only recommended one person before, and that's really impressive for me out of the Witcher fandom, I would just like to say, because I definitely have my favorites. So let's get started. Fic number 1 is called Love's Offices. This is by EskelChopChop on an archive of our own. It's about 5,000 words. It's a one-shot. It is rated T. It does have a warning, which is major character death. So for some people, that's an absolute no-go, which is why I'm pairing it with their partner's fic. Typically, I won't lie, for me, that is an absolute no-go. In fact, I think this is either the first or at most maybe the second major character death fic I've ever read. They did a wonderful job on it. I only read it because it came recommended to me. They did a wonderful job on it despite it being about the death of a major character. That character is still an active participant of the entire fic, which is impressive. It is, the long and the short of it is about what happens to Eskel after he dies and the new job that he takes on. And we all know that Eskel likes to work. It's great. It's a great fic. I highly recommend it. I like a lot of EskelChopChop stuff, but this is, and knowing who they wrote it for, they nailed it. This person loves to be hit in the feels. So it's great. I'm not going to tell you anything more about it because if you're willing to take the leap and know that it has a happy ending, just go read it. EskelChopChop was partnered with Crimsonherbarium, and Crimsonherbarium wrote A Flesh and Flame, which is a heist fic. My coffee's getting cold. About Eskel and a succubus. We all know he likes his succubi. The detail in this is so rich. It's short, it's 3,000-ish words. Again, a one-shot, again, rated T. They pull so vivid a picture from your mind with one sentence in the descriptions of things. You know, everybody's heard of stodgy old men, right? And that conjures a certain image. But rather than stodgy old men, it was like they're bored and constipated Nilfgaardians, and it instantly paints a picture for you of exactly what those Nilfgaardians look like in their paintings. So again, highly recommend. I know I have recommended her before, but you know, she's just such a damn good author. Those are my 2 fics. I will post the links below. Tiny update. So I heard back from Revuelta, who I recommended last time, who took a peek at the podcast, and they said they're indeed a brand new writer. That was their very first fic, and it really made their day to know that like they did a good job and whatnot, and that really made my day to know that they were happy to get a rec. And I still think that they did an amazing job for their first fic, and I hope that they keep writing. So that was the exciting part of that. So that's all for you today. Let me know how you're doing, what you're working on, what you're excited about working on, what you're reading in the comments below. Again, let me know how you feel about knit-alongs on Instagram versus Ravelry or whatever. The only thing I'm really not open to is Facebook is up for me. Gave that up like a year or more ago and I just can't bring myself to go back. And we'll see what comes of it, but do like keep in mind that I will be starting something on May 5th and it will run through the end of June and it will be lots of fun with big prizes. So I hope you all have a great day. Stay safe, stay warm, or cool if you're not in Montana freezing your buns off, and have a good one. Bye-bye.